What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn says forget about Joshua Fury. The focus is on Usyk next. Eddie Hearn wants the fans to forget about the Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight for now because AJ in Matchroom's focus is now on Alexander Usyk. The WBC heavyweight champion Fury also has a potential banana skin in the form of the former WBC champion Deontay Wilder, who he's facing July 24th. It's not a guaranteed certainty that Fury will win that fight against Deontay Wilder, which is now 42-1-41, who has a new coach and is out for revenge. If Wilder upsets Fury, it could be Joshua Wilder that takes place in December in Saudi Arabia. That'll be the next move if Joshua wins his fight against Usyk. Hearn feels that the IBF, the WBA, the WBO heavyweight champion Joshua, 24-1-22, has a tough fight ahead of him against the WBO mandatory Usyk, which is 18-0 with 13 KOs. As one would expect, Hearn doesn't want Joshua to overlook him thinking about Fury and wind up losing. That happened before when Joshua was looking past Andy Ruiz in 2019, and he suffered an upset 6-round knockout defeat. Hearn is still in negotiation with Usyk for the fight in September with the Ukrainian fighter's manager, Alex Krusuk. They've agreed to terms for the fight, for the offer, and the next move is to get the contracts signed. And Hearn said this. He said, "Do you know what? I think right now, let's forget about the fight." Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, said, "The only good thing to come out of this is that we have two good heavyweight fights, Joshua versus Usyk and Fury and Wilder 3. These aren't making time fights for Fury and AJ. These are two competitive, dangerous fights. This summer, you've got Fury, Wilder, and hopefully Usyk as well. Two good heavyweight fights," said Eddie Hearn. So, let me counterpunch, people. This is what I like to hear from Eddie Hearn. I mean, we've heard a lot of backwards and forwards. We've heard a lot of resentment. We've heard a lot of disappointing comments. And we've heard a lot of angry comments, from both sides. One side blaming the other side, someone not trying to save face. Some people don't want to be the bad guy. Someone doesn't want to hold the bag, yada, yada, yada. Guess what? I agree with Eddie Hearn. I'm glad that he's moving on. Let's move on. Okay, the minute the arbitration was finalized and Bob Arum supposedly all of a sudden had a stadium set aside, or stadiums set aside for Deontay and Fury goes and signs a contract publicly, that deal is done between Tyson Fury and AJ. There's no sense of talking about it. That's a waste of energy. We've wasted enough time harping on it, okay? The harping's over. Let's get over it. And it's time to see the fights that are put in front of us. This is the sport that I love, that I hate so much. But at the end of the day, both of these guys, Alexander Usyk, Deontay Wilder, they deserve their shots and they're getting it. That's the good thing about this whole scenario. So we can forget about that. And also, Anthony Joshua shouldn't focus on Tyson Fury. Why? Because Tyson Fury is not the fighter in front of him. It's Alexander Usyk, a guy that's smaller, just as fast, and just as knowledgeable of the sport than Tyson Fury. And he knows how to box, and he knows how to fight, and he knows how to defend himself. And he has never been defeated, okay? He is undisputed former cruiserweight champion, okay? Heavyweight gold at the same year as Anthony Joshua. His stablemate, his parallel, but in a lower weight classes, came up now to challenge him. That's who we should be focused on, not Tyson Fury and his shenanigans with Deontay Wilder and their long-lasting relationship together. He should forget about their relationship and worry about the relationship that he has at hand. So Eddie Hearn is right. And I think what Eddie Hearn is doing, he's trying to curve the attention to Alexander Usyk. Why? Because Alexander Usyk is the guy that they need to focus on. And so if Eddie does it, that makes Joshua more comfortable in concentrating on Usyk, okay? And not anyone else but Usyk. Not a possibility of Wilder or anything, because we see what happens. But to be fair, though, okay? To be fair in defense, Joshua didn't know who he was fighting in 2019. He didn't know until he thought it was 3 or 4 different possibilities. Michael Hunter, Adam Kalnaki, Luis Ortiz, Dillian White. You see where I'm going with this? There was a lot of people that were just scattered in potentials, okay? In this case, he knew at least, okay, it's either Usyk or Fury. Fury's out because he's fighting someone else. Now it's Usyk. Worry about Usyk. So hopefully this won't be a problem or an obstacle for Anthony Joshua to remain focused on this particular fighter, okay? To begin this focus, to begin the strategy and the game plan of this particular fighter getting it done. And stay tuned. I have some footage of Anthony Joshua, and I think it's quite helpful in practice and training for Alexander Usyk. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Eddie Hearn's statement. Forget about Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching. Peace.